At the table saw, I like to use a flat top grind blade. This leaves the cleanest looking cut in my opinion. You can totally use a miter gauge for something like this, but I prefer to use my sled. I know my fence is perfectly square, so I use the bevel gauge to make an auxiliary fence that's 30 degrees to the blade, and this fence is just held down with double-sided tape. These are technically half-lap joints, so I set the blade height to half the height of the material and double stick tape a stop block in position so it's making a cut right at the beginning of the joint. The cool thing about this joint and this whole hexagon trivet is that this is the only setup you will need to make it. That's it. Once this fence is in a good position and that stop block is in the right place, that's all you need. Make the initial cut, then remove the rest of the waste. The end of the joint doesn't matter, you'll see, that's going to be cut later on anyway. Next, flip that piece over and cut away the waste from the other face of the board, and each of the 6 pieces is cut the exact same way with the exact same setup, and all 6 of the pieces should be identical parts that slip under each other, creating this perfect half-lapped hexagon. When gluing it all together, make sure to clamp the faces of the joints together and set it off to dry. So I think it actually looks cool like this with a little extra piece hanging out over the edges, but I didn't plan for them to stay like that, so I didn't clean off the glue and it'll just be easier for me to cut them off. I line up each edge with the kerf on my crosscut sled and it's all nice and clean now. When cut off like this, you get to see that Z shape, kind of like a zigzag shape on all the parts, and I think it looks really cool too. A quick sand, some finish, and let's move on to the next one. Again, I want that contrast, so I look for 3 different colors and rip them to the same width of the table saw, then cut them to the same length